Okay, just a quick video about the Israeli occupation and the current war in Gaza. If you want more videos like this, let me know. Also, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of my videos. Thanks for your support. So the Israeli occupation is not a new thing. It started way back in 1967 after Israel won the Six-Day War. That's when they occupied the West Bank, which is different than Gaza. Then in 2000, after the failure of Camp David, which was a peace negotiation between Israel and the Palestinians, there was an increase in violence against Israelis in the West Bank, and then that turned into the second, also known as the Al-Aqsa Intifada, or the Palestinian uprising against the Israeli occupation. The main form of resistance during this time was through these kind of small ad hoc groups carrying out attacks against Israelis using things like guns and bombs, and it lasted from 2000 to 2005. There were also protests and civil disobedience against the Israeli occupation. But during this time, many Palestinians felt that their only option was to take up arms and fight against the Israelis because it seemed like Israel was willing to negotiate in good faith or end the occupation. During the Second Intifada, there was a lot of violence and a lot of people died on both sides. But in 2005, Israel decided to withdraw from Gaza. Now, technically, they still occupy parts of the West Bank, but Gaza is its own separate piece of Palestine. So after 2005, the fighting kind of continued, but it was mostly between the Palestinians and the Israelis. Israel kept the West Bank, and Palestinians in Gaza were led by Hamas. And so that's how we got to where we are now with the current war in 2023. What happened in 2023 was really just the continuation of this cycle of violence that started in 2000. Now, of course, there have been attempts to reach a peaceful settlement. One of the most recent ones was in 2021 with the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. But those negotiations were really just about getting a ceasefire. They weren't really about a long-term solution to the conflict. One of the most well-known attempts at a peaceful settlement was the Oslo Accords. That was in the 1990s. It seemed like it was going pretty well. Yitzhak Rabin and Shimon Peres were leaders of Israel at the time, and they were awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for their efforts to make peace with the Palestinians. But that all fell apart when Israel kept building settlements in the West Bank. And so Palestinians felt like Israel was really committed to the peace process, and it just kind of devolved into more violence. The main goal of the Zionist movement was to create a Jewish state in the land of Israel, which is what they call it. That's the historical biblical homeland of the Jews, but it's also the homeland of the Palestinians. And so the problem is that there is this one land and two peoples both claiming it as their own and both wanting to be independent and free. And so it is hard to come to a peaceful resolution because neither side is willing to give up their claim to the land. There have been a lot of plans proposed by different countries and organizations trying to come up with some sort of compromise. One of the most well-known ones is the two-state solution. That's where you would have one state of Israel and one state of Palestine. But the problem with that is that right now Israel controls all of the land and there is no agreement on borders. Like, where would the border be? And then there's also the issue of Jerusalem. Both Palestinians and Israelis claim Jerusalem as their capital. Like, which one we'll get to? Keep Jerusalem. And then there's also the issue of refugees. There are a lot of Palestinians who have been displaced from their homes. Like, where would they go? Some people say they should have the right to return to their homes in Israel, but that would mean that there would be more Palestinians than Jews in Israel, and it would no longer be a Jewish state. I think that the best solution would probably be some sort of binational state where both Palestinians and Israelis have equal rights, but that probably isn't going to happen anytime soon. It is probably going to continue to be this cycle of violence until one side is able to defeat the other and completely take over the land, which is sad. Anyways, if you want more videos like this, let me know. Thanks for watching. Bye.